It's hard out there for Advance Wars fans like myself, but I finally found a new turn-based tactical strategy game to get completely hooked on. So if you follow me on social media, or if you follow my posts on the community tab here on my channel, you probably already know that I am hopelessly addicted to Into the Breach, which came out for the Switch out of nowhere. It's also available on Steam, but I've been playing it a lot on the Switch. Now, as I was saying in the beginning, I am a massive fan of Advance Wars. Now, we've been without an actual Advance Wars title for literally a decade now. Days of Ruin on the DS was the fourth and final Advance Wars installment, and to a lot of fans, it was a bit off. They went with a more realistic post-apocalyptic setting. It rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. I thought it was okay, but it really didn't feel like a true Advance Wars title. And when the 3DS came out, I thought for sure we're going to see more Advance Wars titles, and I in fact bought my first 3DS in the hopes that I would be soon also buying an Advance Wars game. But it seems like its developer, Intelligent Systems, only cares about Fire Emblem games right now. And before you say anything, I can't get into Fire Emblem or any fantasy property for that matter. It's the reason I'm not a huge fan of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. It's just not my thing. And I'm not knocking it, okay? Because you guys get pretty upset when it sounds like somebody's knocking the stuff that you guys like. I have nothing against it. It just doesn't do anything for me. After I got burned waiting for an Advance Wars title on the 3DS and saw nothing, I didn't expect anything like that on the Switch, but thankfully we got something else that scratches that tactical strategy game itch. So the story, Into the Breach, is kind of like Gears of War in a way. Earth has been invaded by these aliens that come out from underground. They're called the Vec, kind of like the Locusts in Gears of War, and it's up to you to fight them off. Now, interestingly, you're always at a disadvantage. There's a whole bunch of these aliens and only 3 of your mechs, so you have to play really smart, and this is where this game differs from a lot of turn-based strategy games. So first the enemies move, then they indicate what's going to be their attack, what's their next target, and then they pass the turn on to you. And it's up to you to either sacrifice your own guys by putting them in harm's way to block these attacks on the civilians, which, by the way, the life bar in the game is basically civilian buildings. The more you lose of them, the closer you are to dying. And then you go back to the beginning, because this is a rogue-like. If you lose at any point, you're back to the beginning in universe. You choose one of these pilots that pilot these mechs to travel back in time to try it once more, but you can only take one of them. So if somebody dies in the game, they're dead. You lost all of the progress, all of the time and energy you put into that character, it's gone. So there are some interesting stakes here. Gameplay is really different from any other turn-based game I've ever played because of that fact. The enemies telegraph their attacks, and you can not only put your own units in harm's way to block that attack, like I mentioned before, but you can also attack them in a way to move them to redirect where they're attacking. So you have an alien attacking a civilian building, you can shoot next to it to push it 1 square to the right, say, and then have it attack nothing. Or, better yet, have it attack one of its buddies. So though the matches are pretty short, there's this chess-like back and forth where you're seeing what they're attacking, you're trying to counteract what they're doing, you're thinking a lot about what you're doing. I find myself putting a lot more thought into any of my moves into the Breach than I ever put into any similar turn-based game like Civilization or Heroes of Might and Magic, another one of my all-time favorites, or Advance Wars, because of these elements. There's a ton of replayability, there's a lot of different mechs for you to unlock, you can level up the characters, there's different groups of mechs that you can unlock, and then you can mix and match them to put together the perfect team. Say you're really good with this one mech and this one mech from another team and this other mech, you can then combine them and make your own. Unlocking all of these and all of the abilities for the mechs themselves and the pilots, this gives the game a lot of replayability. Now sadly there's no multiplayer, which again, it bums me out because I would love to play this with a buddy, but I understand that the way the game works, where the VEC, right, the enemies move and then they telegraph their attacks and then they skip the turn, that makes the gameplay kind of asymmetric, right, because one player would always know what the other player means to do. So I'm not sure how they would work that into multiplayer. Maybe the fact that the VAC always have more units kind of counteracts the fact that the other player will know what you intend to attack. I'm not sure if this game could work in multiplayer, and it seems like the people who made it didn't care about it that much. It's a bummer. I would love to play this multiplayer. What are you gonna do? Into the Breach is easily one of my favorite games on the Switch right now. It's also available on Steam, so if you don't have a Switch, you can still check it out. If you read all of the reviews, and by the way, this copy wasn't given to me by the developers. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I'm just super in love with this game. It really feels that Advance Wars-like role on the system for me. I'm so happy with it. And if you check the reviews, you will see that this is a pretty standard position on this game. It's polished, it's fun, it's great. You know, I've been so addicted to this game that I was at the Edmonton Expo over the weekend. It's a nerdy convention. My girlfriend and I, we always try to make it to these conventions. You got cosplay, you got old school games, you got panels. Anyway, they have it all. If you enjoy my channel, there's a good chance you would enjoy what they have there, which, by the way, side note, I did a vlog there, and I know this channel isn't exactly a vlogging channel, but there's so much retro gaming goodness going on, I figure you guys might enjoy that. It's coming out. Let me know in the comments if this is something you're even interested in. Anyway, getting back to the story. I was at the Grand Theft Auto 5 panel, and the actors are there at the desk answering questions from the audience, and all I could think of is, if I put my mech over here, I can shoot next to Sean Fontino, the guy who plays Franklin in GTA 5, and he's gonna push over Ned Luke, the guy who plays Michael, who's gonna push over Stephen Ogg, the guy who plays Trevor. Trevor's gonna fall off the desk. Now I only have two of them to deal with. That's how much this game is dominating my brain. It's like Tetris Effect on steroids. I'm looking at things and thinking where I can shoot to push things out of the way. Probably not a great way to think, but there you go. Anyway, this is Into the Breach. I love this game. It's exactly what I needed. And to be honest with you, if Advance Wars was to come out right now on the Switch, I could probably even hold off for like maybe 3 hours or so. That's how much I love this game. I'd still buy it though, don't make no mistake. Anyway, if you're also enjoying Into the Breach, let me know in the comments down below. If there's anything about the game you didn't like, let me know too. Maybe I'm so in love with this game because I needed something like Advance Wars for so long. Maybe I'm overlooking some flaws in this game. Other than no multiplayer, I have no problem with this game whatsoever, but maybe you have an interesting take that I've overlooked. Anyway, as always, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because YouTube kind of sucks at letting you know that I put new content out. Tell me where you're from. I'm always fascinated to know where you're from. Follow me on social media. I post a lot of behind the scenes stuff on my Instagram and Twitter. You might like that. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.